Hi, good afternoon. I'm Justin Spears, boys golf coach at North Montgomery High School. I wanted to put this info video together for you guys, the parents, to have as a replacement for having a parent meeting. I know everybody's schedules are hectic enough as it is, and trying to schedule it around a practice, not knowing if the practice might be canceled, may be difficult. For example, I was going to do this last Thursday after practice, but because of the weather, ended up canceling. So I just decided to go ahead and put this video together for you to watch at your own convenience. And then if you have any questions as I'm going through any of the information and something comes up that you want to ask, feel free. You can direct message me in the GroupMe app. If you're not sure how, just ask in the main chat and I'll direct you with how to do it. But you should be able to just enter my name in the GroupMe chat now, or click on my name and you should be able to send me a direct message. So if it's something that is just personal or you don't think would benefit the entire group, you can ask me individually. So just again, wanted to welcome everybody to the 2019 boys golf season. I'm back for my second year as head coach, and I'm excited to be back working with the boys on the team this year. I have a great mix of some returning players and new players, and I'm definitely excited to see the numbers growing in the program. We've bumped up to 11 players this year. And we've got some youth and we've got some experience, so I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a really fun and enjoyable season, and I'm ready to get it started here. So that's just a little bit about me as far as my experience. Again, I've been at North Montgomery now for 4 years teaching social studies. And as I said, this is my second year of coaching boys golf, and I did girls golf last season. So I'm excited, and I just wanted to give a welcome to all the new parents to the team this year. I hope that your sons find playing on the team enjoyable and have a lot of fun. Want to talk first about practices. I didn't put a practice schedule together this year. I did last year. And quite honestly, the reason why is because, as I found out last year, it really didn't end up meaning a whole lot because of cancellations and things of that nature. I know one of the things that I heard some feedback on last year was end times and end times for practices, how that goes. I want to try to go a little bit longer this season. Last year's practices normally ran from about 4 to 5:15, just trying to feel for, what we could get done within that given period of time. Sometimes we would go till 5:30. Later in the season, we can push it a little bit longer because it's warmer. These early practices can be fairly brutal, even if we go out on a 45-degree day. I don't want to keep the boys out there for 2.5 hours with the wind and the cold and everything. I want to try to get things done. I want to try to get things accomplished. If we can do that efficiently in an hour and a half, then I think that's doable. But I would say this year, on average, we're going to try to start at least with practices running anywhere from about 5:30 to 6, again, depending upon weather and things of that nature. So just keep an eye out. I'll let you know if anything changes on a per practice basis, whether that's we're going to have to end a little early tonight or we're not going to be able to practice this evening. I am, as a general rule, giving the boys Fridays off. So every Friday is a planned day off. Unless something extraordinary comes up, like if we were to have 2 or 3 days in a row of not being able to practice, and say we've got a Saturday invitational coming up. But I wanted to give the boys a day during the week where they would be able to, know that they've got that day off to be a kid and do things that they want to do. So again, unless something drastically changes, Fridays will be a dedicated day off. Saturdays, obviously, we didn't practice this week. And talking to the course, clearly early mornings are going to be tough on Saturdays just because it is going to be so cold still in the morning. They do have a choose up league on Saturdays that goes off, I believe, at 8 or 9. So we would probably look at doing any Saturday practices as mid to late afternoon. And I will let you know within as much advance notice as I can whether or not I think we're going to be able to practice on a Saturday based off of course availability and weather conditions. And again, this is all pre-schedule practices. Once our schedule starts up. I doubt that we practice many Saturdays. We have a number of different invites that will be playing in on Saturdays. On the off chance that we do have a Saturday, again, I'd like to try to keep that open for family time, again, unless I just feel like it's absolutely necessary. And a lot of times I'll make those as optional practices there. So just to give you guys a little bit of insight too as to what goes on in practice, since we do not have a driving range at Rocky Ridge, we work around the green a lot, the putting green. We'll do putting drills, chipping drills, things with the wedges in the bunkers and stuff like that. And then I like to just let the boys get out and play a lot. Occasionally I will put players in different scenarios where I will ask them to, be in a greenside bunker and try to get up and down to save a par, or they hit their tee shot into the wooded area and now they have to punch out and try to save par, or something along those lines, whatever the goal will be. So we'll do a lot of that kind of stuff as well. So if you're curious, that's a lot of what we'll be working on. I know getting practices ended because players are all over the course. At the end time, there might be a player out on hole number 7 at the time that we end practice. I will try to do a better job of getting players shuttled back up to the clubhouse so that you aren't waiting for them to be done. So if you ever have any questions regarding practice policies or procedures or anything along those lines, let me know. I am working with, some of you may know Fred Johnson. He was the coach prior to me. He had stepped aside a couple of years ago for some personal family reasons. His son Nick is taking on a larger role at Rocky Ridge, and I believe Fred will be around. I've asked if he would have any interest in being a volunteer part-time assistant, just there occasionally to help out. Since I do have increased numbers this year, it would be nice to have a second hand out from time to time. And so I've asked him if he would be willing to do that. And so you may see him around as well. Let's move on into talking a little bit about match play. And when we get into our schedule, we kick the season off with a Saturday invite down at Danville. You can find a copy of the schedule online by just simply Googling North Montgomery Boys Golf, and you'll see a PDF file on there. To my knowledge, it is as accurate as we have the information right now. I know on some courses or matches, it will tell you the course that we're playing at. If it just says away, I will have to find that information out. There are some courses that some teams that every year they switch courses or they share courses. Western Boone, for example, is one of those. Although I think we play them at home this year. But just so you know that there may be a match that just says away, and I will try to find information out. I will also post directions in the GroupMe chat for you as well through Google Maps, so that if you're unfamiliar with where a course is, that will save you from time of having to dig around through that. Most of our weeknight matches, we will leave school at about 3:15 to 3:30. Of course, that means that the students may miss a bonus that day. They know to talk with their teachers if they need to be present for a bonus on a day where we have a match to make up any work or tests or whatever it is that they need to do. But we do need to make sure that we're leaving and giving ourselves plenty of time. We're regulated by our speed limit on our minibuses, and so we need to make sure that we give ourselves plenty of time to get where we're going. And I want the players to have time to be comfortable when we arrive at a visiting course to either hit the range or just kind of loosen up, hit the putting green, get ready for their match and everything like that. So that's a little bit on procedures. Again, I will be driving the minibus there. The question always arises about whether or not the student has to leave on the bus or if they can go with a parent. All I ask is that I need notification. I think technically they want a 24-hour notification. I think last year we were okay just having you send me a message through the GroupMe saying, hey, Johnny's leaving with me this evening. If you can let me know that as far ahead as possible, that would be fantastic. But I understand if we're in a position where it's quicker for you to get home and it's later and things of that nature. If you're going out to eat with family or something, certainly is okay with me. Just please make sure that you communicate that with me there. Let's talk about players then while we're talking about matches. Obviously, with 11 players this year, we're kind of like right in between, having obviously a full varsity team, but then not quite enough to have a full JV team. And so what that's going to mean is, again, for those of you that aren't familiar with the way that matches work on duels or three-ways where we're playing against one other program or two other teams, we will play 6 players, 1 through 6, 6 being an alternate score in the event of a tie, but you score 1 through 5. And so what we'll do is with players 7 through 11, I'm going to talk with Rocky Ridge. I've initially reached out to them about this, but I haven't heard anything. Typically, they're okay with extra players playing behind the match, either on the same side as what we're playing on, or maybe possibly going off on the back. Obviously, if the other team that we're playing or teams that we're playing bring players beyond the 6, then they'll pair up with them, and their scores will not count, but it will, they'll be able to participate and play against competition. When we are on the road, it's at the total discretion of the course that we're going to. This is out of my hands. I will reach out to a coach and tell them I have 11 players. They will inform me, hey, our course will allow you to bring 7, 8, 9. The players that then wouldn't be able to participate are more than welcome to ride with the team. They can support the team. They can be there to cheer them on and everything like that. But unfortunately, they will not be able to play. And that may happen from time to time. I just want to be totally transparent about this process, so that in case, you get in a situation, gosh, why isn't Johnny playing at all? Or, what's the point of being on the team? Obviously it would be ideal if we had a full JV team and I could get some JV matches scheduled. But I think, being able to practice and then being able to participate in a few limited matches beyond, not just scoring is going to be beneficial. So I would definitely look at it from that perspective. And as I tell my top players too, those positions are fluid. That 6th spot may be one that's up for grabs. And those kids that are right there around 7 or 8, I may work in and rotate in if I feel like they've been working hard enough to justify just to get some experience in a match. So just keep some of those things in mind. Everything is fluid with playing positions there. Certainly on invites, it's 5 only. So if we're playing at the Southmont invite, or for example, when we go out to Covington, what have you, it's just top 5 that we would take there for that. So occasionally a invite might add a 6th depending on how many teams they have, but usually there's so many teams that they're trying to limit the number of players that are already there. So just again, heads up on that. Those are 18-hole events, and they traditionally take 5 players. So again, if you ever have any questions, comments, or concerns about who's playing where or why, the one policy I do have is that I will talk to you freely and openly about your child or player, but I try to tend to not want to talk about others. All right. So, just know that if you come to me and, you have questions about, well, why is such and such playing here? Or I see that, I'm typically going to deflect that and say, I'll talk to you about what your son is doing and what we can do to maybe help improve scores or, switch positions or things of that nature. So I just think that's the only fair and right thing to do. All right. Which then leads into your role. As a parent spectator, obviously, I openly welcome you to be in attendance at all matches. Encouragement for the players is obviously one of the things that we want to do, especially in the game of golf, to keep them mentally aware and focused. You're more than welcome to spectate during a match. I will tell you that IHSA rules say that you are not allowed to interact with the player during the round. So once they begin, there is a kind of a side-by-side spectator. Now, you are able to help us in terms of looking for lost balls, being kind of a spotter. And in fact, the IHSAA and the coaches committee recommend that parents stay ahead of the group that they're watching their son in to help look for balls, and then also to avoid, any kind of communication, what does that mean? Well, obviously if you get a coach that's a stickler enough and you're seen talking to your player or son about what to do or what club to hit or giving any kind of advice, that could lead to a penalty for the player. In fact, I am the only one, and if I had my assistant Fred out with me, there's only one designated coach that is allowed to speak directly to the players, and I can only do that from the tee box to the moment their ball is on the green. Once the moment that their ball is on the green, I cannot give any more advice to that player in terms of reading putts or speed or anything like that. I am to cease all communication with that player until they hole out, and then I can talk to them again going to the next tee box. So you'll see me during matches bouncing around. I try to get around to as many players as I can throughout the course of a match. I know sometimes it may not seem that way, but I really do try to get around to see every everybody as equally as I can. If one particular player seems to be struggling, then I'll try to hang out with them just to keep them mentally, again, going and stay on a positive note there. So again, your role certainly to help cheer the kids on, cheer the program on, help encourage. Again, you do have a role in helping look for lost balls or balls off the tee or anything like that. But please try to keep communication directly with the players down to a minimum. Okay. So that's a little bit there. Finally, just some things to kind of keep on the horizon as we get toward the end of season. We'll have our senior night. And those of you that would like to help out with that, I've got a couple of managers, some girls that played for me last year that are going to help organize that. You can definitely reach out with them. We'll do awards banquets towards the end of the season as well, where we'll recognize the entire team and everything after we get done with sectionals or regionals or however far we can end up advancing throughout the season. So again, I'm really looking forward to this season. Those of you that, again, I got to know last year, you know my philosophy. I'm fairly laid back. I want the kids to enjoy the experience of being on the golf team and playing the game of golf. Yes, competitive, you bet. I want us to, compete every single time we step out on the course. I want kids locked in and focused. I want them to take it serious. I understand this isn't, basketball or football or, another higher level varsity sport, but it is something that I want the boys to really work hard at. I think there's a lot of great lessons that are learned from playing the game of golf. And so, definitely there's a place for that, but I don't want it to be stressful. I don't want it to be uncomfortable or not fun, because I want the kids coming back and playing, and I want to continue to grow the program. So I hope that you find it an enjoyable season. As I said, I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you for bearing with me here at the beginning of the season. I am coming off of some pretty major back surgery, and so I was a little delayed in kind of getting through. I was out of school most of the month of February and just getting back into the routine in March. Between teaching and getting golf started now, I've been a little slow. I promise to pick that up a little bit here as we get going and I build my stamina back up. But if you ever have any questions for me, please don't hesitate to, like I said, direct message me. You can call or text me through school or my cell phone. I think most of you guys have my direct cell phone line as well if you ever have any questions. Last note here that I have is on apparel. I did place the apparel order on Friday. So every player will have a navy blue polo as a match uniform. Khaki or black is acceptable to wear as shorts or pants early on in the season if it's cold enough. Some players did order an optional pullover or a white polo, so you may have two different polos. I did tell players from last year that they are more than welcome to wear their orange Charger polo from last year. I'm not too big of a stickler on those things, just as long as we're in an official, polo outfit or uniform representing the school. That they all say North Charger Golf with the Charging Charger on it. Sometimes we play back-to-back nights, and I understand, you get sweaty and you may not have time to go home and wash that shirt before the next night. So having an additional jersey or polo will hopefully help with that some. So if you have any questions about that, let me know, but please try to make sure you get money to me for that within the next couple of weeks. Our treasurer doesn't like to have the bills outstanding too long on that. And if you have any questions about the costs on that, again, I can shoot that over to you. So again, welcome to the season. Really looking forward to it, and we'll see you out on the course.